Pokemon TCG Pocket is launching globally in just over 2 weeks, and I have been playing the game like absolute crazy, and I wanted to make this video going through my personal top 3 changes I would love to see inside the game, either before or shortly after global launch, to make it a better experience for everyone. Now, this is not a just complaints video, this is constructive feedback that can hopefully make the game better. So if you guys have any suggestions for the game, please leave them in the comments, and if you disagree with any of mine, please let me know down there as well. But like I said, these are just 3 changes that I think would just be beneficial to the game in general. So the first thing that I think the game is in desperate need of is some sort of progression system. At the moment, when we look at it, we have our solo battles, which, you know, depending on your account, you can probably get these done in about, like, after you start the game. Like, if you got a decent roll, you're looking at maybe 5 hours after you create your account, even less, that you've finished all of this. And this is all the PvE progression in the game. And besides that, it feels like the game is either a reroll simulator or you just endlessly spend money until you get what you need. Now, the problem with that is, once again, you can just continue rerolling. That's what I did to get this free-to-play account. I loved rerolling in the game. It was a lot of fun. It's honestly probably the most fun in the game at the moment for a lot of free-to-play players, because you don't have decks built. And I've got like 6 accounts now that I use to play different decks on. Even my account that I went ahead and spent $150 on doesn't have enough decks that I want to build, so I've still got to use my other rerolled accounts that I have, and that is a massive problem. The progression systems in the game. There is nothing to keep you interested and coming back if you don't have decks built. The only thing is that you come back every day for your 2 packs, and that's pretty much it. Like, check your Wonder Pick as well. I am holding out for a Starmie EX. Hopefully one eventually pops up in here, but like, that's pretty much all you have to do every day is come here, you check your Wonder Picks, you do your free packs, and then that's pretty much the gameplay loop. Besides that, you can do battles, and I have been doing a ton of battles in the versus section, and I personally really enjoy that. I like the PvP in the game. We'll talk about the PvP in a sec, but what I would love to see is some sort of solo PvE game mode as such. I think the things like Duel Links, which have random trainers that pop up, which you can battle, which gives you rewards, which as you progress and beat more trainers, it allows you to get into higher ranked gates. But maybe that could be like higher ranked PvE leagues, kind of like these leagues. These could be like the beginner leagues, and then you have like other leagues that you work through, and you've got to defeat other trainers in the game over time to continually progress. And by beating those trainers, not only are you progressing through leagues, but it's also giving you maybe specific cards for getting to certain areas in this PvE progression, because getting specific cards will then allow you to build more decks, because that is one of the fundamental problems. Even with spending, you're at the mercy of RNG, because at the end of the day, even though we do have pack points, the amount of things you can actually get to build a proper deck is minute. Like, this account, I know I'm free to play, but I got 390 pack points. I can't even get an EX card from those pack points. So I think some sort of PvE progression that lets you build decks through that progression. Maybe, okay, they clearly must understand the meta at the moment. Maybe give us some of the lower tier meta decks and give us some free cards for those to keep progressing through. And once again, they don't have to be these high rarity cards. That's fine. Just give us the base cards, you know, the base Marowaks. Obviously, we get one for free if you choose the Mewtwo pack at the start, but, you know, give us those Marowak decks, give us the Executor, give us the Arcanine even, because they do give us those in the tutorial ones. Maybe let us build those full decks. The problem is there's so much limitations on the decks you can build, even with spending money. It just does come entirely down to RNG, unless you're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. So like I said, that's the first thing I really want to see implemented, some sort of progression system to make it feel like it's worthwhile playing the game, because at the moment it's literally just do your 2 packs, come in and do your Wonder Pick, and then if you're someone like me, and this is where I'm lucky, I love the versus system. I mean, I just do PvP battles all day, but for a lot of people, that's probably not going to be enough to keep them engaged. And that is my first point. I would love some sort of PvE progression system with guaranteed cards / decks you can build and rewards you for actually staying in the game and playing it. The second one that I would love to see is a ranked system. Obviously, we have versus, we have the random match. You can select that you're a trading card game player, so you hopefully get better opponents, but there is no ranking. I don't mean we need to have a ladder to show you who's the best in the world. Maybe even just a league system, kind of like Pokemon TCG Live has, where it has the different leagues you can go up, and just let it so that if you play a lot more, like you can go up in the leagues, you can start like guaranteeing to fight better opponents, and then you can work your way up and then maybe get better rewards for being in a higher league. Once again, that is very similar to my PvE progression, but this is a PvP progression mode. Once again, if people are scared of having rank 1, which to me it's a card game, like have competition in the game, I feel like at least having those leagues that you can climb up, so when you get into the top league, you're fighting a lot of other players in that top league, have points, like you gain points for a win, you lose points for a loss, so you need to get, some win streaks up to get up into those higher leagues. And have it with some form of reward system, so that once again, it does give you motivation to keep playing against other players and grinding up those leagues. If you guys have any other suggestions, I would love to hear them. It's kind of side tangent to this topic is, I would love to see a way for you to share replays of battles. That would be a fantastic thing for me personally for content. I also think it would be really cool. We've got this social hub. Instead of just showing your cards and flexing your cards, wouldn't it be cool if you could like show some battles and name the battle, and then it's like, okay, someone sees like a crazy play, like a 15 heads licky tongue play. Everyone's going to watch that. Like that adds to the community side. I think sharing battles would be another fantastic thing to implement. But once again, the main point on this one was that I would love to see some sort of ranking system in the game, when the core part of the game is, if you're looking at its base, it's either you just open 2 packs a day, you spend money to open packs. What are you doing with those packs? I think having some sort of rewarded competitive PvP system would be fantastic. The next one I want to go into is going to be to do with the actual combat system itself. Now, for those that don't know, if you go in and you go ahead and you build decks, if you build multicolored decks, kind of like this one, I did do a whole video going over this deck. I think the energy system really needs a fix. At the moment, every energy that you get is basically a coin flip to see what energy it comes in the next turn. I personally think a fine system would just be to have the energies alternate. Now, expanding on that, if they wanted to be a bit more generous with it, is choose the first energy of the battle. Like when the battle starts, you get to choose which energy you want, and then after that it alternates. But hell, if it just chooses a random one at the start and then alternates, that would be fine. If I'm allowed to choose which energy I want in my deck list to start the deck, that's fine as well. I don't care. I just think it needs to have a change, because at the moment, playing these kind of multicolored decks with 2 different energies, it's just so punishing when sometimes you might go 9 rounds of only getting the same type of energy, and you only need 1 energy to make that other card work, but you just don't get it. So I think the energy system really does need an adjustment, a fix, if you will, to make it more inviting to players to try and experiment with these different types of decks. Because at the moment, it is so frustrating when you're like, okay, I just need a water energy, dark. I just need a water energy, dark. What dark. No, it's the most frustrating thing when it happens to you. So I would love to see a change on that. The other thing I would love to see, maybe so, and I don't know, you guys let me know if this is a bad take. This one's just one that's it's been hitting me lately because I've been fighting a lot of Misty teams. The turn 1 thing for a lot of decks, it feels like turn 1 is really, really punishing because you can't place an energy. And you just it feels like turn 1 for most decks that I play personally is a bust. You always want to see Tails and go second, unless you're running Misty, and then the enemy always has Misty. They flip 3 heads and then they nuke you turn 1. I don't know why they changed the way it works, because in the actual Pokemon TCG, if you go first on turn 1, you're allowed to place an energy, but you can't attack and you can't use supporters. Whereas on this version of the game, you can't place an energy, but you can use supporters and you can attack. So they literally flipped the whole principle of the TCG on its head when they took into turn 1 into this game. It feels like they backwards coded it. Now, I do see a definite issue where if you go first and you can place an energy, and then the opponent who goes second can place an energy and attack, but they can't evolve, because we do have a lot of turn 2 plays that are going to be dealing like 60, 70 damage and just wiping that opponent. So I don't know what the actual thing is, but just at the moment, turn 1, feels a little bit awkward to me. I don't know why, it just does. Let me know what you guys think, if you've been playing, what your total thoughts are on that. Like I said, I'm not completely tied to anything specifically in that turn one fix. It's just, it just feels weird to me because I was so used to the Pokemon TCG and everything's flipped on its head. And even maybe just making it so you can't attack on turn one so that the Misty plays don't happen. And as we get future energy support that can be done on turn one, you don't get those just insta-clap plays that are like, I didn't even get to play the game. I only got dealt one basic Pokemon and they knocked it out before I even got to play the game. I just think that is absolutely ridiculous and should not be a thing in the game because it doesn't make sense. But those are the main things that I would love to see implemented. The first one being just for a recap, some sort of PvE progression inside the game. I would love to have a reason to keep coming back. Even if I don't want to play against people, if I just want to have that casual fun, give me random battles that I can do against the computer every once in a while. Even give them like godly decks eventually so that they're really hard to play against so that you can work towards something and keep having that sense of progression where maybe you fight that trainer and when you beat them, you get to wonder pick one of the 5 main cards from their deck. That would be really cool. I just think needing that PvE progression system and some sort of way to build decks as free to play and spenders, because even spending money, like I said, I'm 150 bucks into my other account, which I started with a god tier reroll, and I still can't build 90% of the decks I want to build. So some sort of evening out so that people who want to build decks and battle can do it easier. We do have the rarity system in the game, which to me is a great first place to cater to collectors. You got the super rare things that feel good to have, but I think we need more accessibility into the battling side of the game. That was that first one. The next one is going to be the PvP progression system, which is going to be a ranked type system. I would definitely love to see that. Let me know what you guys think. And then a couple of those little combat fixes I think are very ideal in the energy system and something to do with turn one, whether there's just blocking those first turn attacks with Misty, because dude, that sucks. But that is my roundup of the 3 main things I would love to see happen to the game before the global launch. Let me know any others that you guys have in the comments. If you disagree with any of mine, please put it in the comments and I'll be sure to reply. But that's going to wrap up this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.